you like rushed so fast, right? You couldn't actually like think or make a decision, or even when you were rotating, you weren't looking around. There was no awareness factor or no information factor, right, in that downtime, so you could actually like sort of think about what to do. Also, again, just something to realize. One second. Something to realize when you're over, man, here, the general logic, right, is when you're stabilizing and have a corner, you're going to be on heals, right? So your team just has passive heals because intake for poke, so it's good for your ult charge. You don't need to speed in unless you're trying to like maybe have some small angles, but even then you don't really need it, right? When you're actually pushing in, that's when you want to be on speed, right? That's like the general logic. So if you sort of noticed before there where you were sort of on speed when you should have been on heals, yeah, and then like here you get a weird amp. Just a bad male to where it feel like he was by himself. Okay. I don't know. That just seemed like the team was incredibly confused what the plan was.
Time to accelerate.
And you were sort of just there.
Oh, yeah. Feel the healing beat.
Okay, almost have beat.
Let's get you healed up. Oh, let's break
Like, again, I don't know if you realize, right? Like, if you look, like, this is a decent amp, right? You push forward. It's fine. It's okay. One thing, I'll look one more thing at this. When you amp speed, so one thing you don't do, and it's very obvious too, when you amp speed, what should your movement be?
Like wall riding?
It should be like pushing in, right? Like use that momentum. Like, you know, when you beat, right? You beat amp, you push in, and you go on something. When I'm watching you, a lot of times amp, you're sort of just existing. And a lot of times also I'll notice is something that you have to realize is like, how much range damage does the enemy team have?
Not much.
Nothing. So your positioning can be way better.
Maybe more aggressive, like in the skybox, yeah.
And like, you can just hold your own space, right? One of the best playstyles as Lucio is literally just holding your own space on the map, right? Like D.Va does it all the time, right? D.Va can do it more because like mobility and DM, but you could literally hold right over here and just hold your own space because they have no range damage. Mm-hmm. Like the only range damage they have is really a BAP, I'd say, and maybe Fire Strike.
I do that on offense a lot, and I never do it on defense. Like I don't do it enough on defense, and I don't know why. Like,
maybe because point control versus not point control, but even like, yeah, you'll have obviously point control and, you know, with attack and non-point control and attack too. But like, I don't know, maybe it's something that it's something you should probably look a little bit more at, I would say. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, let's break it down.
Step rider.
Get in here.
Who's got the hot hand?
Barrier activated. Speed boost. Move. Hello.
Hi.
Howdy.
I will say, like, the good thing is, like, you're hitting at least a decent amount of shots. One thing I always look at main supports is how much, like, you actually get crits. If you ever watch someone like Funny Astro or FD God, you'll notice their crit rate's actually quite high. Holy, dude, Zest is not having a fun time.
Yeah, it's a look out the back. It's a trend this map. I'll be honest.
Enemies forward shield. I'm gonna have to shoot you down.
Okay. Like, this is a perfect example, right? Like, why do you need to play with the team here? You could play over here. Same thing for your D.Va. Like, why are you guys all stacked here, man? I'm pretty sure I did a VOD with you.
On top boiler. Yeah.
No, I literally did a VOD with you, like, on, you know, how to hold this choke, right? Like, do you guys need to stack? No, you play different angles and stuff, right?
Yeah, put our Ryan on the right, D.Va.
Sure, like, you can do it however you want, right? But, like, just hold different angles, and, like, this is sort of bad, because you guys are all just stacked in one thing, you know, like, one Doomfist slam, one, like, you know, Reaper shot. That just puts a lot of pressure on you guys, which is just not needed.
Let's up the tempo.
Okay. Yeah, it's a little bit of a macro issue. Extra cheese. Always get extra cheese. I've realized extra cheese on pizza is bomb. Yes, extra cheese on pizza is so good, man. I get extra cheese. I haven't tried that. Maybe I'll try that. But you don't get extra cheese and chicken. That's what I get, and it's so good. Now I'm hungry. It's like you can just see sort of like the disconnect, right? Like you're over here and your Ryan's there, your Diva's not with your Reinhardt, your Ryan just getting bursted. So there's like this massive disconnect, which is like okay. Again, you don't have to be like on your Ryan because again your like range is huge, but that's still a sort of problem. Okay. This is just. All I'd say is, I mean, you're holding space at least. I'm not sure why you got off the high ground, but I guess to push with your Reinhardt. Just fine. I don't know. I just feel like both some of these fights are just like massive disconnects in like a macro, which is affecting your play. Here, you're just inting. I have no idea what you're doing here. Right? Like your ball is on point, stalling. Your tracer is on point. The one thing you should be doing is giving passive heals to your entire team, and just poking and building beat. But you just int. Like if you just lived here and probably got like a little bit more value, probably be at 90% right now for your ult. Then Mei comes in, you probably would have actually had beat. Yeah, yeah. You maybe could have turned it, right? So. So living seems to be a problem sometimes. You just sort of int forward, especially into compositions like Reaper Doom. You want to play a lot more distance, right, and angles. And then understanding to hold your own space is really important. That's What else? So when you're stabilizing mid fight, make sure you're actually like thinking on like how many people are up or down. Like I'm pretty sure, again, I talked to you guys a long time ago about mid fights. Like what does it mean if you they lose their Mei? What does it mean if they lose their Reaper? What does it mean if you lose your Ryan? You should be thinking about all that stuff because it's like it's like your main support, and like you could sort of think about it as much because you have a lot of downtime. So
I have a bad habit when the team's not playing well. I start trying to macro more.
Nah, you shouldn't.
I start playing poorly.
You shouldn't do that. You guys should just do the pincher play here. I don't know if you guys know what I mean by that.
Yeah.
Yeah, just do a sandwich. Like send some people like that. It's a really basic pincher play, and it's really good.
You're clearing the high ground for Doom here.
That's fine. That makes sense. Again, there's just a massive disconnect. Before you're even in the fight, your Ryan's already 1 HP. At that point, you're just screwed. And like you're amping heals for your Reinhardt, but like you got to think about this logically, right? If you're amping heals for your Reinhardt's 1 HP. Is that heals really gonna save him?
No, but there's Mei wall, so I didn't think speed was gonna do anything.
Sure, right, but all I'm saying is like no matter what, your Ryan's screwed. Now another way to approach this, right, is save your amp. When your Ryan's dead, their Mei wall's down. You amp now, speed, and try and trade the Reinhardt.
Okay, that's good.
So that would just be inherently better, right? Because right now you're just wasting amp. I mean, it's sort of good for alt charge. Like, I mean, sort of, not really that great either. But it's something. So.
He probably would have lived if I saved my amp.
Yeah.
Bad guys. Heads up.
Remember, you don't shoot Ryan's shield. Good, just poke people. Remember, you deny. There's a bunch of playstyles, right? You can dive with your Diva. You can, deny Mei. You can off angle a lot, right? Like you can deny the Reaper if needed. You try and boop the Reinhardt in. I don't really know why you're trying to shoot a Reinhardt when there's literally like free squishies you can shoot. Like you're so inclined to shoot this Reinhardt, right? And I just want you to realize right now, okay? You shoot this Reinhardt. Who else is able to shoot the Reinhardt right now?
No one, technically.
Okay, now how much damage do you do?
Fucking nothing. 15, I think, to Ryan with armor.
Yeah. How much healing does the BAP do?
50.
So now, my question is does your damage actually matter?
No, it doesn't. I think I'm just trying to do for alt charge what I should do it on the squishies more.
Yeah, but it's right?
Yeah, that's why I need to see it. I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah, I know, you're good. I'm also, I'll be honest, a lot of people make this mistake, right? Like, if you just shoot this BAP like a few times and you maybe force lamp, or you maybe force shift, or you shoot the Mei and maybe like the Mei's scared, so Mei plays further back. That means your Ryan's more enabled. You shoot the BAP and the BAP's scared, so the BAP maybe plays a corner, right? Like you shoot the Diva, force DM, maybe then your McCree on the flank can get value. I don't know. Like, there's a whole bunch of small things like that you can think of, right? So, and then again, like I don't know, amps. I'm trying to think. Oh, you gotta look at that again. So you amp.
Time to raise my APM.
Oh, turn it up.
起来吧。
Get in here.
Wait, was this the same amp I was talking about before? No, this is a different one, right?
No.
Yeah. So, okay, so what's the main reason why you're amping speed a lot?
Get past window. Oh, me or
In general, why do you amp speed a
distance.
lot? Sure.
and it's technically one of the best abilities in the game if used right.
Yes, but why would you amp speed over heals?
To get on their backline or their squishies.
Sure, still not fully it. Think about damage, or think about like, does amp speed actually like? I'm trying to find a way to explain this, but not say it. Does amp? Yeah, does amp speed heal more than amp heals? It's a weird way of putting it, but see if you get what I'm getting at.
Does amp speed heal more than amp heals?
Yes.
This is like a trick question.
No, it's not. I'm just wording it weirdly. So if you think about it, amp speed, right, can put someone out of danger and put them in cover or in an area to engage. And because they're able to leave the area fast, they will take less damage, which will inherently be better than healing.
I've never thought about it that way.
Right? So what I'm getting at is in a lot
like
of
a shield.
Yes, sort of. Yeah. I mean, it's basically just a way of like, I'm just going to speed the person out before they take a lot of damage. And because they get out really fast, right, that's inherently better than just healing, right?
Yeah, I've never thought about it that way before. I fucking like 1,000 arrows in this character.
All
Maybe
good.
I haven't worded differently, but...
All good. But yeah, so what I'm getting at, and it doesn't necessarily, it sort of applies here, right? Because if you think about it, if you amp heals, right, and there's a window, right, you're amping heals because maybe the window. But if you amp speed, you're getting past the window, right? So you're inherently like getting past the extra damage that would happen. But so I want to slow this.
Perfect sense. It's
Yeah.
just like Diva DM.
Yeah, but
it's
the
like I'm healing bullets.
yes.
That should be like speeding abilities.
And another way of also thinking about it is like if you're playing a corner too, right? And like they're doing a lot of damage, if you amp speed or even use speed and he just goes out instead of amping heals, right? Then that range damage is negligible, right? Obviously if you're trying to maybe build alt, that's a bit different than maybe, you want to amp heals because alt build up's really good and speed doesn't really do anything for that. So, or it doesn't do anything at all. But so let's look at this, right? So you're over here. See, my problem, right, is now you amp heals. And my issue with this is if you just amped speed, right, I think your Ryan could have made a decision of two things. First decision, either he gets out and tries to live and stabilize, and the Diva, I don't have no idea what Snow's doing. Why is he so far back? 1 second.
I was trying to speed him past the window and I went heals immediately when he got through it. Which, I'm not saying it was right, but that's what I was trying to do.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. What I'm getting, okay, dude, there's so many timing issues, man. Look at this. This is why this push didn't work. Epic pen. Your Reaper is already pushing in right now before your Ryan pushes in. So now, when your Ryan actually pushes in, and I'll tell you why I'm like explaining it this way. When your Ryan actually pushes in, now your McCree is over there, and he's sort of just chilling. Now the reason why this is an issue is because if your Ryan wants to back up and live, he could back up or like try and back up and live. Then you would have your Diva McCree flanking, and then that would ebb and flow, right? Enemy team pushes in, but then they have to turn also, so you split maybe some people, and then you're able to like live and then push back in.
Greetings.
So what I'm getting at is because your Kree was like really off time and then went over here, which doesn't make sense, especially, because they have Maywall. It really messes a lot of stuff up. And then you do the amp heals, which isn't bad, right? It's just I think amp speed would have inherently been better because there's this much distance, and by you allowing your Ryan to maybe back up a bit, maybe or like well, I guess maybe you have to back up here because it's a bit window. Maybe back up there, right? Maybe you don't take Ryan cleave damage, and you because again, if you think about it, right, how much damage does Ryan actually take when Ryan has a shield?
None except for from Ryan.
It's like Ryan and maybe Freeze, sort of, right? It's like there's really not that much. Like obviously, yes, the Ryan shield will break, but again, the hopes of this is that your Ryan's able to live for a bit, then your flankers get value, and that's if you wanted to like back up.
About it. It's like Diva, like Lucio, like
yes.
Maybe this just be like speed is like DM.
Yes, it's just a different way of thinking. Yes, exactly.
Bullets, excuse me.
Yeah.
I never thought about it that way.
Yeah, it's all good. Okay, it's just a different way to approach it. I'm not saying this is the only way to do it, by the way, right? I'm not saying you have to, use this concept. You have to play like this. Yeah, it's very situational. Where did my chat go? I totally lost it. Did I close it? Maybe I closed it. 1 minute. I guess I closed it. Okay. Weird. Okay, but yeah. So yeah. So this is just really weird because you sort of like push in, then you back up, and it's just a little weird. And I'm not saying again that you would have lived. Obviously that pin out doesn't make a lot of sense for multiple reasons because literally lamps here, and then you could have sped out a little bit, then lamped later, which would have given your Kree Diva time to off angle, but it's just something to think about. Wow, we have 37 gamers in a real gamer hour. Let's go. Okay, you have almost have beats. Window. So like even if you think about this, right? Does this amp make sense?
Well, the amp was for the noon, but he just pulled.
Right. So timing was off, but let's say the amp, like you didn't need to amp the noon, right? Would that amp make sense?
I mean, I think it would be good. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it'd be good just because we could walk with our noon and get all this space. And maybe we
pretend you like
don't have noon.
No, pretend you noon, but you just don't amp there, and like because you don't have it. Let's say right after the noon's over, you now have amp. Okay. Do you need to amp now after? You just gotta pick on May and you killed Lamp. Do you need to amp forward?
We should just shoot them. They've shut short damage,
yes.
like with Reaper.
So why don't you want to use amp after you just gotta kill on May and force Lamp?
Because they don't have range and they don't have as much sustain. Because they don't have wall and Lamp.
It's because of Ebb and Flow.
Okay.
Right? You gotta kill and you force Lamp, right? Is the fight over?
No.
No, right? They can push back into you, hence having amp to essentially kite if needed is good. Or if you're really confident in yourself, you could just like amp and beat in, but then they might counter beat and that might be bad, right? So all I'm getting at is like, just think Ebb and Flow. You're already up 1 or 2. You use passive speed, apply passive pressure, right? Like for now, if you had amp, that would have been maybe useful. Maybe you could amp out of that. You could then maybe amp back in. Like, there's a bunch of options. Ryan's low. And the only thing I'm noticing, dude, is you, so far in this entire, I don't know how much Brawl you played, but you haven't even touched their BAP. Their BAP is literally free real estate. I don't know if he's like a god BAP player or like you're scared to go on him, but like,
I was really just scared of the Reaper. Like, I'm gonna be honest.
Sure.
It's less scary than a Kree, but
I'm gonna put it this way. How often are you tracking this Reaper? And how often is that Reaper near the BAP?
Near their BAP? Like never.
Oh, wait, are you saying you're scared to go more aggro because the Reaper's gonna flank and go on your BAP?
Yeah.
Okay, so now think about this. One sec.
Okay,
you're not fully getting it yet. How much range damage do they have? Here they have a mace, so it's a bit different, but pretend when they had a Doomfist. So how can your BAP position now? Does your BAP have to play behind shield?
No, you can play high ground.
So if your BAP has to play high ground now, do you need to peel for your BAP as much?
No.
Your BAP's fine, right? So you see what I'm getting at now?
Weird,
No, you're good, right? But you're missing like 1 or 2 details based off your composition and their comp, which isn't giving you maximum value, right? I agree with you. If this comp was a comp, right? I just realized that I did a May and I should have, I saw the walls earlier, but
dead when you were talking about it.
Right. So yeah, there, then obviously your BAP should just go high ground, and then you don't have to worry about Reaper because if you're also just thinking naturally about BAP is very good at one-on-ones, and if if BAP is very good at actually peeling, self-peeling and self-living by using verticality and stuff, as long as they don't have range damage. So yeah, does that make sense? Like just dynamically sort of realizing that, hey, they have very little range damage. My BAP can abuse high ground. My BAP can live by themselves most likely. So because of that, you know, I don't need to peel as much. I can look to go for more plays. Is sort of the logic.
Yeah, I guess I was just playing it too passive.
Yeah,
I went into this just saying I was gonna hard mark.
yeah, but again, make sure you're getting all the information, right? All the information.
More.
Yeah, you're good.
I'm on the payload and moving out. Push on.
Bad guys.
So let's look at this again. So you're pushing cart. I swear I hear somebody above you.
Yeah, there's a Doom.
Yeah, it's a Reaper. Okay. So I don't know why Dylan's not marking that, but or someone hasn't called that. So now you mail, you amp in. Okay. Fine. Oh, I'm. One second. I want to look at something for a top person.
Worried about the Reaper.
No, I don't understand. Oh, okay, the May wall happened. Oh, this macro is just weird. Okay, alright. I didn't see where their May out was. That makes a lot more sense. Okay, that's fine. You got walled, so you can push forward. The May out zoned you, so you forced to play over there. Granted, again, you probably could have, you know, played more verticality and stuff, because again, they have a Reaper. Like, something else also just to realize, if it's like May Kree, that's 2 ranged people. If they have May Reaper, it's only 1 range. So again, you can probably again take like the attributes, right? 1 ranged person is less than 2, hence you can probably maybe still do high ground, but not as much.
Yeah, I just need to adapt more because I play too much. Like we play this in scrims over in the same.
Yeah.
Dude, I mean not attack. I should start playing more aggro.
Yup. Here is not bad. It's sort of sad you stopped there. I wish you kept going. You have like full HP. I think you could have kept going. You have your BAP's up, right? Uncontested. You have to realize that like you don't need to worry about your Ryan. You have a BAP, right? Your BAP's job is to heal and lamp. And like if you're up like 1 or 2 and your full team's full HP, if you're up 1 or 2 and you're low, that's different. You're gonna get traded. But if you're up 1 or 2 and you're decent HP, you can go more aggro because your BAP's free to heal the Ryan.
This is a comedy of errors.
Oh, let's break it down.
What's really interesting about this is you guys have point control and you guys are playing insanely scared. I just want you to realize like how you're positioning.
Like we should play further up.
Yeah, dude, you're giving them like you're literally first of all you're letting them walk all the way up here for free. I have no idea why you haven't high nooned. Or your Kree's up there, whatever. But like you should have held like this corner, taking boxes, man. Like you're just letting them take space for free. This is way too much. Do you have some Brig VOD to review?
I can get one.
Chat wants to see some Brig VOD.
Actually, let me see if I'm map.
This is gonna make you feel better.
Step right.
Just stacking a lot. I hope you get value. You do, okay. Stacked a lot there. Turn for Doom. Doom 1, passive heal, on speed a little bit. That's fine. That's actually a pretty good amp. Because you want to try and finish them, you're low, you're 1 HP. They have spawn ad, you take care. You window, you walk. Okay, you go on the BAP. BAP low, you window. The Reaper goes high.
Greetings.
Okay, you guys are all freaking out about the Reaper. Okay, that's why what's happening. You guys all back up because you're all scared of the Reaper.
I was
And the
just
Doom.
window. I don't think it was worth it though.
Yeah, I think you should have just kept pressuring the back line because that would have forced BAP to not heal, and then because the BAP would then have to shoot you, which means their front line doesn't get healed, which then means you inherently are getting more value. So that was just not the right move. Oh, it'd be really cool if you C9 here.
Yeah, I waited for a while.
That would have been cool. Unlucky. Reefer, okay, Boop Zoom. Notice how your team is right next to a corner, right? And like you can just kite that, right? Like it's not bad to use amp speed there, right? But once you have a really coordinated team, you don't have to amp, like you just passively speed. I mean, you can also amp in there, but like you definitely don't have to use lamp because again, you're near a corner. That's where you're gonna kite to. Because there's a stabilization area in that area, so you could amp there if you really wanted to. Then just chill, get your speed again, and you can poke that high ground. Okay. It'd be really nice if you and D.Va did mini dives on high ground. Or D.Va needs to be clearing more. You're clearing so much, but your D.Va's not, and that's really weird. Oh, your D.Va cleared high, I see. Okay, I guess that's sort of fine. So I don't know if you know what I mean by, like, this is what I mean by you get too close. Sorry, I'm watching this vlog, because I want to, like, understand your thinking. But, like, you get too close sometimes, right? Like, this is all great and all, this is all good. You know they have Doom Reaper, right? And you take a lot of poke, and the problem is when you take poke into like a composition like Reaper or Doomfist or stuff, like it's very easily sort of to die after just because of poke, right? And like again, notice how you like amp heals here. You don't need to amp heals here. It should be speed if anything, right? And now you come over here, right? Why are you walking all the way up here? This makes zero sense. Like, I mean, even if you boop right, like, you're not even looking at what the Ryan is, you take a full cleave for no reason, and now if you go over here, right, you're not going with the flow of your team's fight. Your team is getting pushed, you need to back up with them and then push back in, right? So this is also sort of awkward. Might still be able to win. Yeah. Oh, then I think you lose here.
So you think?
Big high noon. Okay, the Lucio fed. Maybe winnable. Okay, that's a really good window actually. Oh, that's actually huge. Never mind, he probably win. D.Va bomb was a bit much. That's a decent beat.
Do you want a double shield bot or a ball bot?
You choose.
Because I like one.
Alright, so to sort of summarize, right, in like a very general sense for Lucio, right, understand your general positioning based off the range damage the enemy team has, or even maybe projectile, depending how what projectile they have, like they have Pharah and stuff that can, you know, hurt you, but in basic sense, range damage. What range damage do they have? If they don't have a lot of range damage, you can hold your own space and sort of, you know, poke a lot and off angle and, you know, do stuff like that. Then also understand, you know, can you go for these more aggressive dives because your backline is safe, because your backline also, they don't have range damage, so that your backline is also able to live more. Fix your amps, like, you know, we talked about a different way of thinking about amps, you know, using speed as a way to actually neutralize damage, instead of just ebb and flow, which technically ebb and flow is also neutralizing damage, but it's like more if you think about it like more together, right? And then make sure in your mid fights you're slowing down, and so when you're rotating or whatever's happening, you're thinking about like the fight state, and you're like looking around at, you know, people a little bit more. Are you up? How much are you up? How much are you down? And sort of, you know, pressuring the correct people, and also, you know, playing far away, not just going in and trading, stuff like that. And then when you're pushing into the enemy team, don't poke Reinhardt, especially the Reinhardt sort of just playing a corner, because your damage is just going to get healed. Instead, look to actually poke someone of value like a BAP, Kree, May maybe force Cryo or force the May back, which is good, which enables your Reinhardt. You know, press the BAP, force shift early, maybe if you're lucky, force
Ryan's
lamp.
probably the worst.
Yes, he definitely is.
This is the only cooldown that like I can't force out
Yes, exactly.
shield. You know.
I mean, and it's great you're getting rid of armor, but like it's just gonna
not
come
worth it.
back up. Yeah, because how
It's just a
heals.
ladder habit. I didn't even
Yes.
think about it.
Yeah, it's all good. All good.